coming, they leave their homeland and run out of it. That's not a lie. They are passing the fear to the coming generations. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, die, and they died, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought them back to life, to show them that that's what you are afraid of, death. That became reality to you, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you back to life. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one who takes life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He gave life, He's the one who's going to take life. You're not going to die before your time. And subhanAllah, right after that, the ayat come about a group from Bani Israel as well, that they were saying to the Prophet, you see what is going on, how Jalut and his own people are torturing us, killing us, taking all the goods of our city, and then come out. You must, appoint one or pick one of us to be the king, so that we make our own army and fight them back. They are the ones who are asking for fighting. Okay, then when he chose the king, they started, to make excuses. Say, well, that king is not rich. It's not one of the rich people. It's not one of the people who have the power among us. So how come, you choose him? He said that's the choice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him because he has a lot of knowledge, and he has a strong body, and these are the qualities that we need in the king. He doesn't have to be rich. And then they asked for proof. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the proof when Allah Azza wa Jal bring them back the taboot that has remains of the stuff that belongs to Musa alayhi salam and Harun. So the taboot came, and the malaika are carrying the taboot until they put it in front of them. That taboot was stolen by their enemies. So the malaika brought it back to them, and that was a sign or the miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they accepted it, and they went with him. Some of them in the middle of the way, they break the command that they kept drinking from the river a lot, so that they go back. So he let them go back, and then they fought with their enemies, and they won despite of the little number they had. You see, at the end of the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us two lessons. One lesson is, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضُ. That's the main lesson that we are bringing this Akhtarah or this lesson about it. دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ. If the people are not fighting each other, we look at this as something negative or bad. But in reality, this is something good sometimes. Because if you live, the people who oppress the other people, do whatever they want to do, and nobody's fighting them back, nobody's trying to stop them, then the world will come to an end. This is not alive. Nobody can take it anymore, right? No matter how powerful they are, it doesn't matter. There must be somebody who's saying no to them. And if this is not happening, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْض. The whole earth will be corrupt. There is no chance for anybody to live on the earth anymore. You see, that's one thing. In another ayah, that's the second lesson before we leave this ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, it's not about number. كَمْ مِنْ فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةً كَثِيرَةً بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. It happened in the human history a lot that a number of fighters win over a big number of fighters. That happens a lot in the history. So don't just be scared that you are little in number. And we have seen that even in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the Battle of Badr, when the Prophet and the believers won, and the number of the believers like 3 times the number. It's not the only time, it happens a lot. The second thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the sunnah al-tadafu, fighting each other, and how important it is, said, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ. If the people are not fighting each other, to push away the oppression that's coming against them, what's going to happen? لَهُدِّمَتْ صَوَامِعُ وَبِيَعٌ وَصَلَوَاتٌ وَمَسَاجِدُ يُذْكَرُ فِيهَا اسْمُ اللَّهِ. You're going to find that the sawami', all the places of worships, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned all types of places of worships, whether it's for the Jewish, for the Christians, for the Muslims, or for any other religions. It will be demolished. It will be taken away out of the faith of theirs. There will be no freedom of religion at all. They are not going to give you a chance to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what your religion is. Understand? If it were not that, we have this, that the believers stand up for those who are expressing oppression against them. And subhanAllah, Allah tells us in the Quran that sometimes He will make the oppressors or the tyrants fighting against each other. And that will be sometimes for the good of the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talked about Bani Israel said بأسهم بينهم شديد. البأس is القتال. You know, they're fighting among themselves is strong. تحسبهم جميعا, you think that they are together, one hand. وقلوبهم شتى, but their hearts are different. They don't like each other. They have a lot of hatred when it comes to, you know, the groups among themselves, if you can tell. So, and subhanAllah, sometimes you reach it to a level that you're going to find, you know, two big countries are fighting against each other, and that will turn on for the good of the believers at a time that's not expected, and we have witnessed that in our modern time, you know. So this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He makes people fight. So that fighting, that we will look at it as a negative thing, sometimes it's a very positive thing, and it goes to the good of the Muslim group, you know, in their time at that time. So this is sunnah al-tadafa. And it's not only about fighting with the sword or the gun or the weapons. Sometimes that fighting could be through the arguments, through articles, through books, through the media, through the internet, through the TV, you know. Whatever is easier for you or you have access to it, then you can fight back. You cannot just stay quiet when things are forced against the believers, you know, and they are saying, well, we cannot do anything about it. No, everybody can do within his own limit, within his own capacity, but you cannot just stay quiet about it. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala madah, He praised the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because they did this. You know, once He gave them the permission to fight back, they did it, and they did it in the best way. أذن للذين يقاتلون بأنهم ظلموا وإن الله على نصرهم لقدير. The permission was given to those who have been fought and forced out of their homes, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims. The permission was given to them to fight now. You know, that's when they get the permission, after they left Mecca and went to Medina already. So 13 years, no fighting. They are being oppressed and they are not fighting because they didn't get the permission from Allah. Once they get the permission, they fought back and they showed that they really are strong when it comes to that. Even in one of the cases, الذين قال لهم الناس إن الناس قد جمعوا لكم فاخشوهم فزادهم إيمانا وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. They have been telling them, you should be afraid because they gathered for you big crowds and big army. So you should be afraid of them. Stay home. Don't go out to fight them. You know, the people of Quraysh and their allies. But they didn't listen to that. They say, Hasbunallah. Enough for us is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He's the best one to support us. Best supporter. So they went. فَانْقَلَبُوا بِنِعْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَفَضْلٍ لَمْ يَمْسَسْهُمْ سُوءٌ. They went out to the place of the battle, but actually the opposite happened. The disbelievers are the ones who got scared and went back after they already marched out of Mecca. So they went back too scared of the Muslims, you know. And the Muslims won, get good reputation, and they make some business in the place where they were in the Battle of Badr the second, and they went back. So Allah Azza wa Jal praised that they are strong enough to fight back their own enemies. So this is the whole idea, that you cannot say, well, I'm too weak to fight. I'm too weak to write an article against that. I'm too weak to speak against that. Everyone can do his own rule within the capacity or the ability that you can do. Even if this is so limited that you are talking to your family or to your friends or to your community about it, so that people, you are raising awareness. This is the least you can do about, you know, the issue, about what's going on. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى اله وصحبه.